Now, after table topics, after those short questions and mini speeches, we will move to our next session, which is prepared speeches. So I will be introducing to you. This time, they will be delivering speeches that are normally within the range or time frame 5 to 7 minutes. So we have 4 speakers today. And the first one, let me introduce our first speaker for prepared speech. She will be delivering a speech from Presentation Mastery Level 1, Project 2, which is Evaluation and Feedback. And the title of the speech is, we have the title. All right, so let me now introduce to you our speaker, but of course we have an evaluator as well for this speech, competent communicator Christina Jung. And now let me help you welcome our first speaker, Toastmaster Lilia Maliksi.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Our 3 guests, Lisa, Raymond, and another one. Have you watched, the title of my speech, by the way, is Hunger as an Option. Have you watched the trilogy starring Jennifer Lawrence, The Hunger Games? That one is just a game. Movies were made to entertain. This that I'm going to talk about is serious stuff. In my icebreaker speech I delivered at Casalo months before lockdown, I shared with you my personal story, what I experienced, the strong typhoons in Catanduanes, which devastated our island province. Strong typhoons are synonymous to famine or serious hunger all over the island. That in my time, typhoon relief was unheard of. We were on our own. Furthermore, in the scenario of my childhood days, when I compared my experience to that of the novel Gone with the Wind, where Scarlett O'Hara said, "As God is my witness, 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 I will never go hungry again. But now, that famous line, it's now passé. It's chorba. Today, I say with seriousness, hunger is not even a problem. This time of pandemic, hunger is, shall we say, a better or necessary option. And I used to say now, fasting is good for the body, for wanting for a better justification. Why do I say that? Let me explain. Even if you have a very generous budget at this time, you can go to the wet market because most of them are closed anyway, or you are afraid that COVID lurks there and everywhere, even in groceries. Most times, it is better to buy at sari-sari stores or ambulant vendors, as exposure to this virus is quite limited than air-conditioned facilities or supermarkets. And every single item that you buy, you have to disinfect like crazy. This vicious virus has turned our lives upside down. I believe this is a war, a very deadly war. Consider COVID as a bomb. If you get it, your internal organs explode and will snuff the much needed air out of you. We are now being thrown bombs by soldiers in enemy lines, which we can see, but with this, it is an invisible and deadly one. This vicious virus' only way is to attack us when we are not very aware, through our eyes and through our mouths. The bad thing here is when we get sick, we are alone without our loved ones beside to comfort us. When we might not be so lucky, we go directly to the oven as COVID casualty. Well, I say oven, I did not say crematorium because it's scary, but I said it anyway. The scenario in my previous speech about the strong typhoons and its ensuing hunger, I consider now a walk in the park. My God, why did I ever experience this in my lifetime? Imagine going hungry as an option to survive is better than catching COVID. Everything has changed tremendously. Seriously, I have to say to all of you that I'm sorry for the excesses of my past generation. You are the casualty, so to speak. We have learned of lessons that simple living is key. I urge you, my fellow dear Toastmasters, we must all survive this and pray that this nightmare will be over very soon. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lilia. There was a wit and also wisdom in your speech. And if you want to hear success story from someone who started from small, we should hear it from Toastmaster Lilia. So thank you for that wonderful speech. Now we are going to hear another speech. Here is from Presentation Mastery Level 2. She will be delivering this within 5 to 7 minutes. And the manual is focused more on effective body language. And the title is Reclaiming Creativity. The objective of the speech is to deliver a speech with awareness of her intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how she will use nonverbal communication when delivering a speech. This will be evaluated by DTM Ed Ramirez. I'm sorry, by DTM Jude Ola. There's a change here. So let's welcome together Toastmaster or PM1 Pam Pataksil. And we tend to find them a problem solver. They will give directions so we could find our own way. He or she is called a mentor. I met my mentor at the lowest, hardest, and probably the most stagnant point in my life. It was in the year 2009. I decided to enroll a teaching class to get a TESOL certification and somehow make some changes in what I usually do. The first time I talked to her over the phone, I was amazed by the way she spoke. She was so fluent and articulate. So I did not hesitate on paying a quarter of my class tuition. The first Met was a great experience. So along with some licensed teachers, I was in awe of listening to them because I was not, my background was not teaching. I noticed that when Teacher Jan approached her teaching, it was holistic. She would start and end the class with a prayer. However, after a few sessions, I decided to stop going to class because of financial issue in our family when my mother got hospitalized. Before I left, she then offered to pray for me and I agreed. It was the best prayer I've ever heard. I felt the healing power while she was praying for me. My face lit up, the turmoil in me was eased, and for the first time, I was surprised that an almost stranger like her would care to pray for her new student. In the year 2017, I was then at the lowest point of my life. Got brokenhearted from a relationship that did not work. So I decided to have a change again and go back, try the class, and perhaps change my career course. By this time, I enrolled a 5-month class from an ad on Facebook. And surprisingly, she was the same teacher I met from the previous class, but this time with a different company. I found the class therapeutic, not just to me, but to all of her students. She was an anointed teacher. She was creative, full of wisdom, amusing, and sensible. Let me share you this. One thing I always miss about her class was the weekly pedagogical takeaways at the end of every session. By doing that, I learned to open up myself and trust everyone in the room. And she made sure to have a personal time to each of us to closely get to know her students. I have never met a teacher who would intentionally spend time with the students in her class. It made her stand out among them. She had good reasons why she made it as part of her teaching method. I witnessed how it made a difference on her teaching approach. And as what Tony Daje said, a teacher and an NFL head coach, the personal 101 aspect of mentoring is something our society desperately needs. Indeed, during the time, what I really wanted, what I needed was a one-on-one mentoring with her. These are the pictures in our class when we started the session. In the middle, she is my mentor, the one in the middle. And this is the picture we're in. We had this one-on-one mentoring. This picture was during our graduation day. So I continued meeting her after our graduation. She told me to join Celebrate Recovery group with her because she knew I needed it. So true enough, that was exactly the right time to join the group. The interesting part of this group was that I learned that it was a biblical and balanced program that helps overcome hurts, habits, and hang-ups, researched and founded by Dr. Rick Warren. So the teacher Jan did not only share about teaching principles, but also became a mentor for life. In this group, I got the chance to get to know more of her and the reasons why she is so blessed and successful. Indeed, a good mentor is the one who would always care for her mentee. Because of her, I gained clarity and learned a lot. They would come by the time you need a guide the most. And that mentor is the one who would care. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day. So thank you, Toastmaster Lois, for that speech, for sharing that speech with us. And now, let us go to our last speaker, but of course, not the least, who will be delivering a speech from Strategic Relationships level, an elective speech. This will take 15 to 20 minutes speech. Is it 15 to 20 minutes or 5 to 7? Oh, okay. It shows here 15 to 20 minutes. I believe 5 to 7 minutes for this speech, and then the rest are Q&A sessions. So the title of the speech is Why Our Online Meetings Put Us at Risk. This will be evaluated by Toastmaster Jeff Lobo. So help me welcome our last speaker, DTM Ed Ramirez.
Hello, Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Tell me, do you think that it's always safe to have online meetings or online events? What do you think? Perhaps.
Yes, it's safe.
Yes. But what if I tell you that every meeting, every online event comes with a risk? And I just found out earlier, it's not just online meetings and events, it's also physical meetings and events. Yes, that's true. Now, why and how? Okay. The reason why is this. Let me show you my screen if that's okay. Online meetings and events are associated with the capture, recording, storage, replaying, and publishing of what? Pictures, videos, audios, etc. In other words, anything that comes out in a Zoom session can be posted in Facebook, can be shown on YouTube, and so on and so forth. Right? Sounds safe, right? But really, it's not safe. Why? Because there is an issue that we overlook. What is this issue? It's what we call data privacy. Okay. Actually, there is a law here in the Philippines. There are also laws internationally that protect data privacy. Okay. It is said. I mean, I saw an article in the website showing that because of the GDPR Data Privacy Acts, companies like Facebook had to pay huge sums of money. If they can be sued, is it possible that our officers could be sued? The answer is yes. Okay. Here in the Philippines, we have Republic Act number 10173. The Data Privacy Act is a law that protects all forms of information, private, personal, or sensitive. Okay, now the basic idea here is whatever data collection, they need consent. Organizers must seek consent. Okay. Now, think about this. What if we have an event, right? And then 1 month after, somebody says, hey, why did you publish my video or my picture on social media? You wouldn't believe it, but that person can file a suit. Now, if it's, just imagine, if it's a BF Toastmasters meeting, then somebody says, hey, I don't like my picture there. I'm going to sue you. Is that possible? Yes. Okay, that is possible because it violates the data privacy requirements. Okay, data collection requires consent. Now, here's what meeting and event organizers must secure permission from participants to collect, record, store, replay, publish everything in the online session. I'm not talking about when the meeting starts. No, that's not it. The moment they enter the Zoom session, anything recorded could put the organizers at risk, which is why the meeting organizers must have an agreement. Okay, before you get into the Zoom session, you must agree that you will, that we can record, collect, we can store, we can publish any information that has transpired in the session. Okay, very important. That's one. There's another one important thing that we need to consider, which is participants should not hold the organizers responsible for pictures, videos, audios, etc. published. Why so? Because it's not always the case that the organizers publish the information. Sometimes fellow participants publish the information. Now, it would be very unfair if, because of a third-party person or another participant publishes the information, the organizer should be held liable for any videos or pictures that were shown without consent. Okay, so these two are important. Okay, now, so think about this, okay? If we're going to have a meeting, okay, let's say even a physical meeting, are there pictures going to be taken? Are there recordings? Okay, maybe before the meeting, everybody should sign a consent form that have the two ingredients. Okay, now in Toastmasters, there is a form. Okay, that form is what we call the, I think it's the release form. There is a video release form in Toastmasters that permits, you know, audios, videos, pictures to be taken. Okay, and the nice thing about the format in the Toastmasters website, the sample format, is that you sign a form, it's applicable for the whole term. Okay, isn't that nice? Okay, so I think perhaps we should play safe. Everybody should be required to sign this form. Okay, so we should create a form and then have members sign it. Not only members, but visitors. Okay, not just local visitors, especially foreign visitors, because it's no joke to be sued in the courts of the United States. Now, you're wondering, doesn't Zoom have a privacy clause? Well, yes, okay. There are privacy clauses elsewhere, but it's better to play safe. Okay, there are things that are not included in the other clauses. It's better to have one document, and everybody who joins meetings, attends, must sign this thing. Okay, how can we implement this? There are 4 ways. Okay, first, written. Okay, you agree that would be safe, right? But there's also what you call verbal. This was implemented during the last district competition. Everybody was asked, do you agree that your picture or your videos would be taken and published? Everybody had to say, I agree. Okay, I think if you ask Jude, Jude will mention his experience with that. Okay, the third, you could also have it as part of a requirement. For example, maybe we have something written down and then we say, choosing to attend our meeting is tantamount to an agreement of our data privacy agreement policy for our meetings. Okay, so that's nice. That's easy to do, right? We have something written, and before they click it, they have this. Okay, so first, written; second, verbal; third, an implicit requirement when they click and join. It's tantamount to agreeing to that. The fourth would be a combination. Okay, of course, isn't it great to have a combination of all of that? Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, next time you have a meeting, play safe, watch your data privacy, get permission. So I know you have a lot of questions. At this point, I'd like to ask the audience if you have any questions about this topic which you'd like to know more about. The floor is open for questions.
Division Director, is the consent form available online, or how will they sign it, or how will we take hold of the copy? Will it all be electronic?
Okay, thank you very much, Madam President, for that question. If everybody heard the question, the question was, where do we get it? It's in the answer, it's in the TI website, but that is a PDF. The second question is, how do you get the person to sign, right? It's ideal if we get the person to sign prior to the meeting. Now, there are different softwares that allow you to sign on a PDF. Okay, one is PDF Drive, PDF escape.com. Okay, you can type in. Now, for regular members, you can have you can modify the form published by Toastmasters International, and then you say, instead of just one meeting, it's all meetings throughout the year, or as long as you attend meetings of the club, this agreement is in force, something like that. Okay, you
So
agree
just,
to this is that.
So just one document that will, they don't need to sign every meeting. One document is enough for the continuous meetings, so that will be efficient.
Yes,
Okay.
we can have it as we can have everybody sign something, and we can. It's also good if the challenge is guess. How do we get guests to sign, right?
Question,
Okay,
question.
I think We have another question or comment or what? Let me call on our birthday celebrant, Toastmaster Porsche. Okay.
Thank you, DVD Ed. I guess my question is just that, would it be okay to just post something on our Facebook page or whenever we invite guests to have the disclaimer down below that you will be recorded, and if you refuse to be recorded, send us a message instead. So it, like, by default, you allow us to record until you say no. It's like a disclaimer for our Facebook page or our invites when you send them out. Would that be a good idea?
Well, one suggestion is that, do you know the Zoom link, right? You can put in text there, okay? You can say there, clicking the Zoom link is equivalent to agreeing to the terms and conditions of the meeting, okay? Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you may not know it, but you've already signed the consent. So you can't file any case against the officers. Now, how did you know that? Secret. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Toastmaster Loise, did I see you raise your hand?
Yes. So DTM Ed, you mentioned about the data privacy law in the US, and that's in the US, and now we are in the Philippines. So would it be, which law is applicable just in case something happens, or like will be sued of anything about violating the law? Would it be applicable for us since we are in the Philippines?
Okay, thank you very much, Toastmaster Lois. Did everybody hear the question? She was asking, oh, there's a law in the States. We have a law in the Philippines. There's also another law perhaps in Europe. Now, how are we going to solve that? Well, what I mentioned, okay, the two elements cover all of the laws. Once it's there, you just read the fine print, you see that it's covered and will be safe. Any more questions, comments, violent objections?
Sir. I'd
Yes.
just like to add to the concern of TM Force, and I think you have already also put this in mentioning about the possibility of putting it in Zoom. In our office, we usually use Microsoft Teams whenever we do online meetings, and whenever we click the record button, it automatically states there that recording has started. By continuing to join the meeting, you automatically give consent, something like that. So I think it's a good idea to really probably just have that in the Zoom so that guests will not need to sign anything. And I think we have a chat-in question from our
Yes,
observer,
from our
Raymond.
guest.
Is there a standardized template for Zoom meetings or anything similar?
What do you mean by
Okay,
template?
I don't understand
I think the
standardized.
standardized one is probably maybe similar to the one that I discussed regarding the Microsoft Teams, wherein it's standard for every Microsoft Teams meeting session that is being recorded. But I think you already mentioned if we can just place it in the Zoom invite, if ever the disclaimer, something like that.
When we send the invites. Got it. Yeah, good idea, Julie.
Yes, I think that would be safe because to play safe, anybody who is already in the Zoom session should have already agreed, okay? Because there is a span of time before the person enters the Zoom session or the whatever platform, the online session. There's a span of time between entering the session and having that disclaimer shown. Okay, if any video or any picture comes out, who is liable, right? What if the picture was taken by somebody else, another participant, right? Then you will still be blamed because you are the organizer, right? We want organizers to be safe, not sorry. Okay. I hope this doesn't scare all of you, huh?
No, it's actually a good conversation to have, especially now that we're having online meetings and this is a
Yes.
new normal. And it's better to be protected than be sorry.
Okay. Oh, yes, Toastmaster Lois.
Yes, can I have one more question?
Sure.
For example, since we have this data privacy and then we already signed agreement that we're okay with that, how about what if, for example, I have like there's a live streaming, for example, on Facebook or on another live streaming app, and then I will be streaming or video streaming our meeting. Would that violate the rules or the law?
Videos
The-
is public domain, I think.
okay, the question was, what about video streaming? Well, just as I mentioned, it's better that we make it a requirement prior to participation. Okay, before the person gets in, the person already agrees that he or she agrees that the whatever is recorded is has the consent, and also that the person may not file a case against the organizers. Okay, otherwise it's not safe. Now, perhaps you're wondering, is it possible that a person joins the event and yet we don't record? To play safe, don't let the participant get in if he or she doesn't agree to the terms and conditions. That would be safe. Okay, anybody who doesn't agree, oh, sorry, we can't get you in. You can watch the live stream, but you cannot participate. Okay, now I'm not looking at the chat box. I saw a bunch of stuff. Let me just look at it. Okay. It says here, is there such a document that you can copy and use? Well, I suggest you tailor fit the words. Okay. If you want to get the document from TI website, then you modify it, right? That would be safe. Another question here is, okay, word for, it's really, I don't think there's any existing word for word stuff that you can copy. It's better to customize to make sure that the that the person agrees. Okay, to really customize it. Madam Timer, do I still have enough time? Am I still in the? I can't see that. I'm still green. Okay, green. Okay. Are there any more questions? Ooh.
Sir Ed.
Is the TI copyrighted?
Yeah.
It's available for modification. Yes.
Sir Ed,
Toastmaster.
I read in the chat, Sir Les mentioned that if this is a matter of policy, I think he's suggesting that it be cascaded to the division as well.
Okay, very good question.
From Sir Les.
I believe that this is supposed to be a serious concern. In fact, everybody was surprised when I brought it up to the district several days ago. It probably shook the nerves of those,
yes.
the district trio. When I ask questions or I present something, they suddenly shake. Oh, nga pala, no? But well, you know what Nomel said? He said, Ed, we cannot enforce this district-wide, but we at Dasmariñas Toastmasters Club have already implemented this since 2018. Okay, so in other words, the district doesn't want to enforce this. Okay, they want everybody to do it on their own. Okay, which is not safe, right? but they don't want to have a blanket thing, right? In fact, I would prefer something that's uniform so that anybody who signs up here and attends meetings anywhere in
Anywhere.
District 75 would be safe. But voila, I couldn't have it implemented. We can have it implemented on our own. Okay. I know that you like to ask more questions. Okay. I welcome more questions later, probably, or you could message me. Now, so that we won't forget, okay, we want to play safe. What are the two things that we have to incorporate? The first, consent from the participant that we can record, we can publish, we can store the videos, pictures, etc. And second, that they agree not to waive any liability on the organizers. Okay, I hope we learned something. Thank you very much for the questions. Okay, back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, DTM Ed. Now we are very well informed about the laws and what are the responsibilities of us doing the live stream. So that also reminded me of the issue about Zoom, when Zoom or still starting and everyone was concerned about privacy and confidential information that's being disseminated online. So that was such an intriguing topic, DTM Ed, and I do believe that we still have questions. We will be approaching you after this meeting. All right, so now we are already done with our prepared speeches. We are moving forward now to another, but before that, we need to have a break for 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Please.
10 minutes. Okay. And then we will be resuming. After that, we will move forward to the next session, which is evaluation portion.
Timer, please take note. 3:52.